Well, good morning on this Wednesday, March 2nd. Welcome to Senate Judiciary. It's good to see all of you in the room. Good morning, committee members. We'll start with roll call.
Senator Cooper.
Here.
Senator French.
Here.
Senator Kolb.
Present.
Senator Cost.
Here.
Chairwoman Nethercott.
Here. All right, and with that, we'll start with House Bill 125. Is that first on the agenda? I don't have my, it is not first on the agenda. We'll start with House Bill 88 then, with one of two choices. House Bill 88, name change, notice publication of minors amendments. There he is, the man of the hour, Representative Harshman. Welcome. Well, good morning, Representative Harshman. Good to see you. The time is only 8:03, so we are on time and under budget, so you're good to go. That's right. Well, welcome to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Representative Harshman, feel free to go ahead and share with us your bill, House Bill 88.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the committee. This is really just a constituent bill, and appreciate Senator Cost co-signing on. And it's not really an area that I'm legislate in much. I really don't. I mean, I've been in front of the Judiciary Committee the last 20 years. This might be the second time. And it's just not a, and so I had this young mother contact really all the Natrona County delegation, and I responded to her, and then I got, anyway, young child, dad's in prison, they both agree on a name change, in-laws involved, all this stuff is, you know, that none of us probably hopefully have to experience, and didn't want to publicize the name of this child. So then, so I talked through this, contacted DFS, and then their legal folks. Anyway, so we went back and forth several times, some phone calls and emails. So this little tiny bill just is in this Title I on just the publication piece, you know, and there's several sections to this when you go through this part of the statute, but it's just on the publication. You can see on the second page of this engrossed copy, the new language that puts it at the end of that existing paragraph. And your colleagues in House Judiciary amended this, actually the Good Country lawyer from Buffalo, upon good cause shown to the court, added that notice, because there were some questions on the House floor. Well, what if, is this parent trying to hide this kid from another parent and all that? And that's not the intent at all. It's, so that's why that was put in there to answer those questions, and just to not require notice on minors under, you know, if good cause is shown to the court. So, and really, why do we have the notification on name change? Most of it's for debt, frankly, for people. And so DFS likes to change. They testified in the House committee, thinks this will help also on some domestic violence cases as well. So it's a little constituent bill I just bring before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Questions for Representative Harshman? All right, thank you. Public comment on this bill? No public comment. Well, I think we should entertain ourselves, folks in the room. Is there anyone online to provide comment on this bill? Okay. Senator Kolb?
I was looking, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I was looking for a lawyer in the room, and maybe a further explanation about good cause. Is that a high enough level of cause? And then I assume this is district court. I'm not sure. Maybe you could expound.
Yeah, Representative Harshman?
Yeah, I'm not a country lawyer either. I think there's only one attorney in the room, and
It is district court, yes.
it is district court, and that's a little bit I do know about that. But I think the attorney in the House that brought that, he thought this would even be better because it really gives the judge, maybe there's other good cause reasons other than, you know, threats of violence or worry about those kind of things. He said, maybe it's money. I mean, then when he brought the amendment, maybe you've got a young family and it's going to cost $1,400 for a 4-year-old kid to get his name changed. Doesn't have any debt. And so he says, who knows what the good cause might be? So that was the discussion behind it.
Yeah, so good cause is not a term of art, and so it's generally meaningless or undefined in the law. But I think it's reasonable to use your plain language understanding that good cause would be cause appropriate for a judge using their judicial discretion to determine whether or not it was appropriate to allow for an exception based on the circumstances presented. And we do trust our judges on this committee, right? Number one committee?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Any further questions from the committee? Yeah, Senator French.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative, I'm just a little confused on this. Say there's a family, whatever, a divorce, family violence, whatever. But the father gets limited visitation. How does this affect that if the name is changed? It's to protect the child, but does that completely bump him from the ability to see his child? Because he may not even know, with the name change. If you could clear some of that up, I'm a little foggy on that end of it. Thanks, sir.
Representative?
Yeah. Madam Chairman, I think, and that's the exact same question really in the House floor. And that's why this amendment was really brought to that. But really, for parents who have joint custody of a child in a divorce case, one parent can't just do this on their own. This has to be, they both have rights to their child. And so I think that was, so to answer your question, I don't think that has any effect at all. And both parents would have to agree to a name change if they both have some custody of their child. Thank you. Yeah, exact same question we had in the House.
All right, further questions from the representative? Senator Kolb? We are entertained.
Good.
We are entertained.
Good. Good morning, Representative Harshman. What about if the child's a ward of the state? And would the state petition to have a name change for some reason?
Representative, if you know?
Madam Chair, I don't think so, but this isn't a space that I work in much, but I just don't think that would happen. I don't know, maybe members of the committee know.
I'm not aware of it ever happening. Senator, I bet that if the child is a ward of the state, that legally it may be possible for the state to do that, but likely not something that they would do or have an interest in doing. Primarily, if a child is a ward of the state, then two things are either happening. One, that child is in the process of being reunified with their family, their biological family, at which point changing that name would not be something that they would desire to do. Or the other option would be, or the other situation would be where that child is in foster care seeking to be adopted, at which point the state again would not probably take action, recognizing that the new adopted family may want to change that child's name at that time, who would be adopting that child. Anyone have any other scenarios? That's all I can think of.
Sounds good.
All right, any final questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Representative. I think we asked for public comment. There is none. Still no public comment? All right, public comment is closed. Committee, back to you. Moved by Cost, seconded by Cooper. Discussion on the bill? Question being called, roll call?
Yeah, just
I do have.
Oh, go
just a
ahead.
comment, ma'am. Madam Chair.
I guess it's kind of important. We're not discussing whether or not a name change should be allowed, simply whether or not it has to be published. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Senator Cooper. Senator French. Senator Kolb. Senator Cost.
Aye.
Chairwoman Nethercott. Madam Chair, House Bill 88 engrossed passes with 5 ayes.
All right, thank you, Representative. All right, the time is now 8:13. We moved through that little good bill in short order. And so we will move on to House Bill 125, Workplace Injury Assistance Information and Guidance, sponsored by Representative Connolly, who I think is appearing online for us this morning. So if we could allow her in the room, and then I also see her co-sponsor on the Senate side, Senator Anderson, welcome. Would you like to come forward? Okay. In that case, we'll make you come forward. Welcome, Representative Connolly. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Can you hear me okay?
We can, but it sounds like you're certainly not feeling well.
That is true. So I'll do my best to introduce this good little bill and take any questions, and then probably go back and drink some more hot tea.
All right. Well, thanks for being here with us this morning.
Well, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Kathy Connolly, House District 13, and I bring you House Bill 125. What this bill does is simply add duties to the Director of Workforce Services and the agency to provide information to employers and employees of both those covered by workers' comp as well as self-insurance when there's a workplace industry. The background of this bill, it goes all the way back to our first special COVID session, where we needed to address the impact of the pandemic on employers and employees in relation to illness in the workforce and possible shutdowns. You know, if you remember, we modified our statutes to establish a presumption of COVID transmission at a workplace so that the employee could be eligible for workers' comp rather than unemployment, and the employer's unemployment rating would remain stable. But in the midst of that work, we realized that a significant portion of our population isn't covered by workers' comp. You know, as a state, we only require workers' comp in hazardous workplaces. Plus, we allow other employers to opt in to the state workers' comp system if they want to, and many do. But this is, remember, this is the grand bargain that employers and employees agree to. No one wants a workplace injury, and we have reasonable workplace safety rules and a system. When an accident happens, the injured worker receives care through a workers' comp system, and the employer has paid into it. The injured employee can't sue. It's one of those grand bargains in labor law. But remember that not all employers in Wyoming choose to be part of the workers' comp system, and instead are self-insured, and they carry their own insurance for workplace accidents. So when we added this presumption regarding COVID to workers' comp, these self-insured employers and employees were not and couldn't be included in the statute, and both had to rely on unemployment, and we were all in uncharted territory. Workplace injuries, you know, you think about a box falling off a shelf or a slip and fall or a machine malfunction with easy lines of causation. Those didn't and can't exist for COVID. So over the interim, the House Chair of Labor Health and I thought about this issue and looked into what other states were doing. There were lots of different systems. Many just simply required employers to participate in their workers' comp system. Others had whole systems set up within their equivalent of their Department of Workforce Service divisions, where the self-insured employers paid a little bit in for an administrative fee, but we knew that we didn't want to go down that road. But we also found out that we couldn't really modify our workers' comp statutes to address self-insured employer issues, because that title, 2714, is really specific to covered employers and employees and administered through the workers' comp fund. It wouldn't be fair to have those employers pay for services to employers and employees that haven't paid into the system. So what we could do to provide employers and employees in self-insured systems is simply to provide them information about how to proceed when there's a workplace injury. So this bill is that first step. It simply has the director of the agency through the duties listed in Title IX, so not in Title 27, but in Title IX, which defines the executive branch duties and administration of the government, to provide what's the meat of the bill, which is to have the director and the agency provide, and if you want to turn to the bill, it is simply that information that is listed on page 2 of the bill, those 4 elements, and then to provide a report so that we can understand the extent to which, in particular, those who are self-insured, both employers and employees, are using this service. So with that, Madam Chairwoman, I'd be happy to take any questions from you or the committee.
Thank you, Representative. Questions for Representative Connolly? Senator Culp.
Morning, Representative Connolly. I hope you recover well.
Thank you.
I had a question on page 2, line 8, and it was after appoint a separate administrator. And then it goes on to say of each of the divisions of the Department of Workforce Services. How many divisions are there? And do you know of a cost associated with this for this separate administrator? If you could elaborate on that. Thank you.
Representative.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Senator Culp, that's existing language. That this bill is not adding a new administrator. This bill begins with that Romanet 8 that you see there. There is no new administrator. There is no additional costs that are being associated kind of with this bill. And you'll also see, and I believe you might have a representative of DWS in the room if you'd like more of that information regarding the divisions. And he, I think, will also be able to talk a little bit about how they plan on implementing this.
All right, further questions for Representative Connolly at this time? Due to how much time we have this morning, we'll probably be able to come back around to you, Representative Connolly, after we hear from Department of Workforce Services and anyone else who might want to provide public comment. So we might, after we hear full testimony, maybe come back to you with additional questions.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
All right, with that, we go to the Department of Workforce Services.
Madam Chairman, good morning. Jason Wolf with the Department of Workforce Services. I think just to real quickly answer Senator Culp's question, we have basically 4 divisions, 4 administrators who oversee certain sections of Department of Workforce Services. I oversee what we call workforce standards. So I oversee workers' compensation, Wyoming OSHA, labor standards, and our disability determination services, which is a component of Social Security Administration. Madam Chairman, I don't really have anything further to add. I think Representative Connolly did a great job putting the bill together. I think I would just stand for any questions. The department doesn't really have any issues with the bill. I think we can successfully carry it out. So with that, I'd stand for any questions, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Director Wolf?
Administrator.
Administrator Wolf, all right, thank you. Further questions from the committee? So Administrator Wolf, the bill does require new, duties for you to administer. Concerns about how to do that, or, just resources to do that?
Madam Chairman, I don't believe so. We do have several different, in existence today, we have several different pamphlets and stuff that exist on our website. I think this bill will just require us to maybe modify those a bit and provide some additional clarifying points in some of that, and make that widely available, at least on our website, and through our customer service advocate who exists in workers' comp today.
And Mr. Wolf, I'm aware, because I think we've all seen maybe those posters that employers receive and can place in their workplace. And what all topics are included on those posters? I know wage and hour is one of those. Maybe OSHA is on there. I probably should know this more thoughtfully, but I don't recall accurately everything on those posters. Would this just be something added to those posters, for example?
Madam Chairman, yeah, I think we had kind of brainstormed that within the agency, is adding, there exists today on that poster that you speak of that is provided free to every employer. It's also posted on our website. It does have the state minimum wage, federal minimum wage, employee rights under OSHA and workers' comp. We can certainly look at adding a more extensive section to that. But I would add that we do have a nice workers' comp pamphlet that exists on our website that provides information for injured workers and how to navigate the process, whether that be through getting medical treatment, getting an attorney to argue a case that maybe we denied. All of that exists in that pamphlet today, so.
Wonderful, thank you. Senator Kolb.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Let me ask a relevant question. Page 3, line 13, under E. Could you walk me through that and explain, I guess, what you're trying to disseminate, or how would you disseminate that, and how would you come up with your list? Thank you.
Certainly, Madam Chairman, Senator Kolb. So Section E on page 3, line 13, that is to kind of go back to what Representative Connolly was speaking to, that under the current structure, the current statutory structure of workers' compensation, we have what we call extra hazardous employers and we have what we call optional employers. All of the extra hazardous employers that fall under those NAICS codes that are enumerated in statute are required to purchase workers' comp coverage through the state fund. If they are an optional NAICS code, they have the option of whether to purchase our coverage as an employer, or they can go out to the open market and purchase insurance if they choose to do that for their workers. And so, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. You
No,
want to finish
I
that?
guess just to close that loop would be, this section is going to require us to post a list of those available insurers on our website, which I have already had a conversation with Commissioner Rude with the insurance department. They do have an existing list of those insurers and the current market share that they hold nationwide.
And a follow-up question. Would it have an impact on corporate officers and their opting out of the workman's compensation system?
Madam Chairman, Senator Kolb, no, it would not.
Thank you.
Although why they would ever do that, I have no idea. Senator Kolb.
I did. I am a corporate officer, and it was a negative thing for to participate, because I carried other insurance, so I didn't need to pay in to the fund. So to take for an explanation of why someone might not want to do that.
All right. Further questions for the administrator? All right, seeing none, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Further public comment?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Tammy Johnson. I'm the Executive Director for Wyoming State AFL-CIO. I come to you in support of this bill, and I just want to share a little background on how this kind of stuff impacts workers in our community, in the state of Wyoming. As you know, a lot of these, what Mr. Wolf referred to as the NAICS codes, people that fall under that category are people that you see every day in the workplace, grocery store workers particularly, or frontline workers who are affected by COVID and are not typically in the workers' comp system. I think here in Cheyenne, there's one store of the many grocery stores that is in the workers' comp system. So those employees don't have an awareness of what is available to them other than what the grocery store may provide them at their, based on their goodwill. They don't, being with a private insurance carrier, they may not understand what they need to do. And I will tell you that the difficulty with that system is that those employees don't have the resources to pursue legal action if they need to, if their claim is denied. So this is a great step in the right direction to help employees understand what their rights are and what the process is, which can be very heady for, these lower wage workers. Very difficult for them to navigate the system, the time, the effort, the energy, and the knowledge, the resources they just don't have. So we're very supportive of this. And I wanted to share with you during COVID, we had a lot of people, and I think even still there are a lot of people who are eligible for the benefit but don't know. And upping the ante, upping the communication from Workforce Services, giving it a little bit, some sideboards and a little more direction is great, because we do our best to get that information out to our members and workers, but we work closely with Workforce Services on this kind of stuff, and it's really helpful, and it's very important that the workers understand what their rights are, and what they need to do. So, I could answer any questions you might have, but very supportive of this and very happy to see this bill. So thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Questions? All right, seeing none,
Awesome.
appreciate you
You
being
bet.
here.
You bet.
All right, further public comment, Senator Anderson? Oh, Ms. Shaner, please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Marcia Sheener. I'm with the Wyoming Trial Lawyers Association, and I'm here today to also support this bill. Our members help injured workers navigate the workers' comp system, and also other self-insurers when folks are injured in the workplace. No one expects to be injured in the workplace. No one is really, I think, ever truly aware of what the process is until you have to be aware. And so having some additional information available and to both employers and employees is going to add to the education of both of those entities, and hopefully help the process move forward a little bit more smoothly. I hope that the self-insured employers and employees also, that this additional information will help them. But we too think it's a good step. Any additional education information that can help all of us work through a system that is pretty complex sometimes is a positive step forward. And I'm happy to answer questions if I could.
Thank you, Ms. Shaner. Just because we have the time. And some experts in the room about Wyoming workers' compensation. Isn't it true that in Wyoming, if the employer is a member of Wyoming workers' compensation or is part of the fund, that if an employee is injured on the job, that Wyoming workers' compensation is their sole and exclusive remedy for any injury they may receive?
Madam Chairman, yes, it is their sole remedy for their injury. And so it's a very important process for them. And so, as you note, having additional information for them to help with achieving a remedy is very important.
And Mr. Wolf, if you could come forward. This is the grand bargain that Representative Connolly is referring to, and I think it's one of the grandest bargains the state of Wyoming actually has. It really is pretty special and pretty unique, at least I believe. And so speaking to that sole and exclusive remedy, it can be a harsh result to many employees. Mr. Wolf, if you know, if, for example, an employee is killed on the job site through the clear, maybe gross negligence of the employer, isn't it true that that's the sole and exclusive remedy of that killed employee and their family?
Madam Chairman, you're absolutely correct. So any employer that is insured through the Wyoming workers' comp system has that exclusive remedy by statute. So that would be, the sole beneficiary to the sole benefit left to the beneficiaries. However, that does not prevent them or the family from filing a third-party lawsuit if that was the cause of the accident.
If it wasn't the cause, correct?
Correct.
But if it is the cause, that family cannot sue, correct?
Cannot sue the employer, correct, Madam Chairman?
And thus, that is the grand bargain. So there is always a remedy available for that employee, but it is limited to that particular type of remedy. So it's pretty cool, actually. Senator Kolb.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And if Senator Kolb had employees, I indeed would be participating in the program because it is a good deal. The question I have is on self-insured employers. Will there be any extra cost to those self-insured employers if this bill gets passed?
Mr. Wolf?
Madam Chairman, Senator Kolb, I don't believe so. The cost is going to be what they're going to pay through the private market for their insurance. I don't believe this will add any increased cost to them.
All right, any final questions? Senator Cooper?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Wolf, can you tell me how this would apply to the ag industry, the farm and ranch workers, where there's usually not workman's comp available and there's no postings to speak of on a normal farm and ranch operation? Well, I'm struggling with how this is going to apply in that situation.
Mr. Wolf?
Madam Chairman, Senator Cooper, so I do believe that the majority of the agricultural NAICS code is optional, which means they can opt into our coverage. Many do choose to opt in, some don't. But I don't believe this will affect their coverage. This bill won't have an effect on their ability to opt in or go out and get private insurance if they choose to do that.
Follow up?
I'm more concerned about with the private liability. How do we get this information to those people? Because there's not a board posting all this usually. It's just, come on out to the bar and let's go to work. So.
Madam Chairman, Senator Cooper, I think if I understand you right, like I alluded to earlier, I had a conversation with Commissioner Rood with the insurance department, and they do have a pretty comprehensive list of those available private insurers that we would plan to either link to on our website or have a PDF document on our website so that insurers or optional NAICS code employers would have the option of looking at that list and choosing, they can get a price quote through the private insurance. We can give them a price quote, what that would cost, and they can make their selection from there.
Any additional questions? All right, thank you. Senator Anderson, final comments?
Morning, Madam Chairman.
Morning.
Judiciary Committee.
The number 1 committee,
Number 1 committee, yes, yeah,
close to number 8.
yes. I signed on to this bill because we were signatory for 40 years that I worked for the machinery company. And we got lots of information about workers' comp. I had no idea that there was companies that didn't get that information and that there were employees that didn't get that information. So when I was made aware of that and the COVID thing kind of brought that to a head, I agreed that this department needs to get that information out to all employees and all employers. So that's what I like about this bill.
All right, thank you, Senator. Questions for the senator? Appreciate you being here. All right,
Thanks for
back to
having
you,
me.
Representative Connolly. We have time for any kind of final comments you'd like to wrap up with?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the committee, and I really appreciated the kind of robust discussion and interest in the workers' comp system. Boy, there's a lot we could talk about with it. But going back to just this bill, and actually it was Senator Cooper who asked, how do we get information to these people? Actually, the answer is this bill. Right now, our statutes regarding workers' comp are kind of really narrow. And it is with the Department of Workforce Services staying in its lane with those employers and employees that are covered by the system. Honestly, if an employer or an employee of a self-insured system called, right, a DWS office or stopped by, and they were part of a self-insured system, the answer would be, you're not part of our system. And we don't want that. That's what we learned 2 years ago. We want, honestly, our DWS to be that, what they're calling now, kind of like a one-stop shop. If an employer or employee calls, they're able to get information and guidance, right, regarding, in this case, workplace injuries. All right, that's a good thing. But honestly, we need to change our statutes for them to be able to do that. And that's simply what this bill does. It doesn't have costs associated with it to either the self-insured employers, to those who are under workers' comp, and the agency has agreed that they can take it on, right, within their existing budget. So with that, Madam Chairwoman, I would appreciate, and I vote.
All right, thank you, Representative. Any final questions for the representative? All right, seeing none. Public comment is closed. Committee, back to you. Moved by Cost, seconded by Cooper. Further discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Senator Cooper,
Aye.
Senator French,
No.
Senator Kolb,
Aye.
Senator Cost,
Aye.
Chairwoman Nethercott.
Aye.
Madam Chair, House Bill 125 engrossed passes with 4 ayes and 1 no.
All right, thank you. And that wraps up our morning meeting, good senators. The time is 8:39. I think we did some good work this morning.